Letting insolvent companies fail. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to talk about, well, the need for creative destruction in a free market economy. Sadly, when times get tough, some businesses do not survive. One thing that I was quite concerned about was the government's intervention. Well, the government's coming to the rescue and changing the insolvency laws. And we'll see in a moment how few businesses are actually winding up or getting external administrators, and how personal insolvencies are all down. Just as we've had our first recession in nearly 3 decades. And I guess it's more so from my experience as a small business owner, the frustration of chasing someone for money. And often you've already spent a good portion of that money employing your staff, keeping your business going, and you've got to chase them up. And then even if you take them to court, even if you win, the process of trying to extract the money out of someone who's been trading insolvent, breaking the law, is often not worth it. And I'm sure a lot of the other business owners who are watching the channel can share stories. I honestly, as an architect, it isn't as, well, it's not as bad as others. Because for us, what do we lose? We pretty much just lose labor. We lose time and intellectual property. But someone who's buying, building materials and then installing them into someone's building, that can be much worse. They're going into debt to do work so often, hopefully not. Usually it's a cash advance, tied to the family home. And this is what happens. The builders will string them on till they go under. Isn't it great? So let's start by having a look at just how the government came to the rescue. They've changed the insolvency laws and the rules last year. Your time frame to respond was just blown out to months. And we can see here, these are the companies entering external administration. And it just took a nosedive, everyone. So it's sitting about half of where it should be at the moment. Sitting about 1,000. Should be, if not 2,000, maybe even a little bit higher. Does that look like something you would expect at our first recession, everyone? This is showing it. This is the latest data, actually, from March 2021. We can see here just the number of companies entering external administration. New South Wales is in the lead, then Victoria, then Queensland. And the list continues. This is the percentage relative to the average. I've taken all the data that they've got there. I figured out the average to kind of indicate where it was sitting because, well, the average has now been skewed because of the last 3 data points are much lower. So we're now kind of above the average. We're above in Queensland, Victoria, and Western Australia, but the others are still down. So it's all getting thrown out of whack. Now, this is the number of people who've entered personal insolvency from the 1st of July to the 14th of July 2019, all the way to the 5th and 18th of April 2021. And you can see that that's just been going right down. Fewer people have been declaring bankrupt or needing to go insolvent because the government's been coming to the rescue, everyone. We're in quite artificial environment here at the moment. Now, one would expect these will eventually creep back up to the normal level, to the average. Because, our economy suddenly hasn't gotten a lot better or a lot more fantastic, particularly if they're going to keep everything closed. With that in mind, let's look at the insolvency reforms that are being proposed. The laws have changed, and now they're looking at changing them again. So, insolvency laws set for reform just months after they were introduced. Now, my understanding was this was to make the process a bit easier, or at least to create a pathway kind of like in the US, where a company in trouble could hopefully work its way out of insolvency to, start trading again. A win-win. Months after sweeping changes to insolvency laws, the budget revealed the government will re-examine what should happen when businesses go bust. This could mean a lot for businesses in trouble and those chasing debt from them. I mean, that's never fun, everyone. Robin, Erskine, partner at insolvency firm Brook Bird, said it was disturbing the government was again raking over the system used when businesses need to be wound up. They're back having a look at that regime only months after the introduction, and that creates uncertainty in the marketplace, she argued. Well, yeah, it does. That leads people to having a suspicion or distrust in the regime, and honestly, that's something that we just cannot afford as we move to kickstart the economy. So back to the drawing board. There is no cost attached to the changes announced in the budget, such as increasing the minimum threshold from $2,000 to $4,000 when creditors can issue proceedings to wind up a company. Separately, a couple of big issues will be examined. To clarify the treatment of trusts, a popular way of setting up small businesses under Australia's insolvency law. Reviewing safe harbour provisions for insolvent trading introduced in 2017 to see if they're still fit for purpose. And the small business impact. For small business owners like Paul Malik, any changes are unlikely to have an impact on when it comes to recouping debt. I love being in the studio. I love teaching. I love creating. But the business side, very, typically takes much of my time, Mr. Malik, the artistic director of Melbourne Academy Transit Dance, said. A lot of the stuff that we've been chasing is pre-2020. People just sometimes fall away, and because we're an arts organisation, it's really challenging to talk about money because we're so passionate about what we do. I mean, I built a back end for my business, a dashboard, a whole access database where I can manage the whole thing rather than, pay for an off-the-shelf product because I wanted to learn how to use databases. And it still means I can, put a free proposal together or source out quotes really efficiently. It reduces the amount of support staff I need. And I go back in there. I used to use it to track all my invoices, and I had all these letters and things I built just chasing up invoices, chasing money. It's, fun part of the construction game. The federal government temporarily altered insolvency laws at the height of the pandemic in March 2020. These changes helped struggling businesses stave off anxious creditors and protected company directors from being charged with insolvent trading during the uncertainty of the initial period of the pandemic. There was a surprising side effect. With the first recession in 3 decades, most expected the number of businesses going bust to soar. Instead, it slumped, as we've seen. Most experts point to the economy-saving JobKeeper wage subsidy, which propped up businesses. The 10-year average of companies going into administration is over 9,300. But in 2020, fewer than 5,000 went under. A slump so stark, many insolvency practitioners had to access JobKeeper themselves to keep their doors open. Even with JobKeeper about to wind up at the time, figures from the Australian Securities and Investment Commission from January to March 2021 showed just 973 businesses nationwide entered administration. So failure is not all bad. From its office in a Melbourne suburb, staff at Prushka Fast Debt Recovery work the phones to contact people who owe money. The idea of proposed changes in insolvency law is noble, and I support the thoughts behind it, said Executive Chairman and founder Roger Mendelsohn. But whether it's going to have any impact in the real world, I seriously doubt it, for the underlying issue that most companies are simply not worth saving when they've reached that point. I mean, that's harsh, but it's a dose of reality there. Politicians don't want reality. Politicians want sound bites. They want to claim credit for other people's work. Substantial reforms to insolvency law came into effect on January 1 for companies that owed up to $1 million. They introduced a debtor-in-possession model that gave distressed small businesses a road out if they got advice from an insolvency practitioner and half of creditors approved the plan. Every creditor would be bound by it. The business could then keep trading. But since January, just 37 companies in the whole nation have said they intend to use the model. The Australian Financial Review reported just 3 have actually made a plan. Why? Well, we're pretty much half of where we should be with companies going under, everyone. It's not a normal environment. But by number of clients, Prushka is the largest debt collector in the nation, Working on behalf of more than 50,000 companies, Mr. Mendelsohn isn't surprised by the low take-up to the new provisions, because very few of the companies entering liquidation have a financial future. Sometimes a business is not viable. Maybe the operator doesn't know how to run it, or doesn't have enough expertise or capital, or the idea may be silly. It just may not be a business that has a future, he said. It's better that the business not be kept alive on life support, but fail. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's healthy. Well, yes, we need some creative destruction in the economy, everyone. Businesses need to fail because that creates opportunities for other people in the market. Have we forgotten that? Creditor changes. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg used his budget speech to reveal an independent umpire for small business disputes with the ATO involving debt recovery. Now, I like that, because the ATO, they're not business, are they? They're forcing you to pay them. We will take these disputes out of the courts and let small businesses get on with what they do best, he said. On the other changes, industry players are cautious about reopening consultation on the issues just months after they came into effect. An overriding concern is for all facets of the insolvency, companies, creditors, and practitioners to have a fair say. What's important is that there's a lot of industry consultation, not just insolvency firms, but also on the business side of things as well, said Patrick Coughlin, Chief Executive of Creditor Watch. So we don't just look at it from a step-by-step or piecemeal approach, and there's a really good opportunity to look at it from a top-to-bottom approach. The company which provides information to businesses about how safe or risky it is to provide credit to customers is hesitant about any shift towards a more forgiving Chapter 11 style of administration popular in the US. As a business owner, you would certainly welcome those protections, he said. However, on the flip side, as a creditor, that's certainly rife with issues of how much protection is too much protection. In Australia, we don't want to see companies or directors able to sort of burn everything and then start again the next day. There's a different sort of culture and mentality in Australia compared to the US. Brooke Bird, partner at Robin Erskine, said there were benefits from re-examining some of the topics, such as issues around trusts. They're overly complex, currently, often resulting in insolvency practitioners having to go to court for clarification and court orders, which adds a layer of complexity and cost, she adds. And that erodes returns to creditors, she adds, noting that creditors sometimes feel the cost outweigh the potential benefits. Well, I've been there. So anything that simplifies the process will lead to better outcomes. More to come. Experts noted in this report, and others not quoted, supported lifting the minimum threshold at which companies could be wound up. The changes announced in the budget doubled it from $2,000 to $4,000. Most small businesses will not feel the impact of the changes. They will continue to seek to recover their debt or tighten payment terms to reduce risk. It's very much about communication, said Paul Malik of Transit Dance. We don't want to chase people for money, but sometimes you have to. I've been sent to the debt collector. I was an unruly, very, very eager early business owner who spent all the credit cards in the world. Sometimes you go down that road, and it's no one's fault. It's just about, we want you to find the money and find the way so we can get paid. Roger Mendelsohn has been chasing debts for more than 45 years. He is happy to help with any government inquiries, as he has in the past, but does not see changes that will impact on issues he sees as being more vital to small business, like payment lengths and dealing with debitors. There's a feeling in government that it needs to do something. Well, that's the problem. And sometimes it's healthier to not do things. People go into business, some fail, some win. I like this guy. I like Roger's take. People go into business, some fail, some win. Yeah, you can tell. 45 years in the game, he's got a bit of experience there, guys. What do you think? So, what are the solutions and takeaways to this? I just want to reiterate. All of the interventions, the propping up, the keeping of zombie companies alive has cost us significant debt. Now, some people are concerned that that's going to, be a yoke on future generations. Others think this is just the new MMT world we're evolving into, or the fact that they'll inflate it away to nothing, guys. One of the benefits of hyperinflation. We'll have to see what happens. But regardless, we need that creative destruction in the economy. It's a good thing. I know it's not nice. I know people don't like the idea of failure. But it's part of life. Come on, it happens. Sometimes failing in a business could lead to other opportunities. Have we forgotten that? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us by signing up for SelfWealth or Stake. You can use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Buy our merch from HeiseSays. Use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.